Okay. By the way, James, I want to make note of this. James Ham, 1320 Kings Insider, Kings Beat joins us. You make your jokes about Kevin Huerter and all of that. You look significantly more like Domantas Sabonis. With you both got the I believe you called it a strawberry blonde hair, and you both got the soccer superstar cut. You the beard. You tend to favor Domantas Sabonis more than Kevin Huerter.
You know, in my phone, I have a picture of me and Alexi Lawless.
Oh, wow.
The soccer great.
Oh, yeah.
I ran into him in Boston one time at a bar while I was out there for the Sloan Analytics conference at MIT. And we took a picture, and I look like I'm much shorter than he is, but we look like we could be brothers.
Was this beardless James Ham?
Yeah, because I've had a beard for like maybe 2 years now. But before that, I didn't have a beard forever. Like when I was young, I had a beard for like 12 years. And then I shaved it off, especially doing TV stuff. And then when I left NBC, I grew it back.
I see it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see it.
It always trips me out how, and I guess technically that's what it is, but they refer to goatees, which is what Ham has.
Yeah, I have a goatee. Yeah.
I have a beard. James doesn't have a beard.
I don't really have a beard. No, I have a goatee. Yeah, I can't grow a full beard.
People do that. Like, I'll see the goatee and people be like, oh, I got my beard. Wait, what? I'm confused.
Yeah, I can't grow a full beard.
Now, we got a lot of King stuff to talk about, but I just wanted to ask both of you guys. I'm amazed by these things. You guys probably saw it. The Wrigley Field drone thing.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with the Cowboys, obviously. That blows I don't know how they do that. If somebody like has a video that explains how they get those things done, I'd love to see it because I'm blown away. But that thing is amazing.
Are we talking about like the illegal filming drones or what?
No, well, I don't know because the Cubs put it out, so obviously it was their team. But the drones that they go all around every corner of the area. They went on the blocks on Sheffield and Waveland Avenues and went through all the nooks and crannies of you've seen the Cowboys one, right, James?
I don't think I have.
Oh, okay. It's amazing. It's on my Twitter. It is insane what they do with these drone videos.
Yeah, people get licensed, especially media members have to, like, if they're gonna drone like during, I don't know, like standoffs or, like there's strict regulations on where you can and where you can't and when you can't and when you can use a drone now. And like, I think Hector from the Bee, like he's all certified in all of his drone stuff. Yeah, he's pretty spectacular. Like those guys are like, they have it down to a science. Yeah. Not like you or I who have cheap drones and crash them everywhere.
Yeah, I would be.
Yeah.
I do not have a drone. Just for that reason, because I'd crash it and be pissed.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through what turned out to be the worst day in D'Lo and KC history yesterday, where we spent roughly 3 hours examining a piece of video that you posted on your Twitter account, and it appeared to us that an individual threw down a monstrous dunk while you were talking to De'Aaron Fox.
I said Malik.
De'Aaron smirks. Jeez. I'm sure you guys can guess who that is, and everybody chuckles, and we're like, no, who was it? And then we played the sound back, and we heard the dribble. We heard 3 dribbles, what we determined to be 3 dribbles, a gather, a jump, and a dunk. And then I text you, James, who dunked when De'Aaron was talking? Oh, I think Luke Louts threw a ball against James is ridiculous. I'm going to text Sean Cunningham. Sean Cunningham says, no, Jay Triano threw a ball. This is stupid. I'm going to get the answer I want. I asked Matt George. Yeah, one of the coaches threw something. God. James,
I I have the definitive answer. Okay, so the Kings had their point of emphasis meeting with an NBA official yesterday. It was former NBA official Bennett Salvatore. And part of that, I guess Jay Triano had asked a question because there's something to do with free throws this year where you can't throw it. I don't know. There's something to do with free throws. So he asked very specifically, can a player not step up to the free throw line, but get the ball from an official back near the 3-point line and throw the ball off the backboard and have one of his teammates grab it and go up and score? So I don't know if he was being funny or if it was like, but they moved on from that. They came out on the court, and I guess only Doug and Jay Triano were behind us. Like, we were all facing the wall where De'Aaron Fox was going to come in. He came in, he got in his position to be inside the scrum, and then whatever happened behind us. And like from what I've heard, it was Jay Triano threw a ball like pretty hard, and it smashed off the backboard right behind us. And you know, on occasion, like players like Ben McLemore used to shoot 3-pointers from half court after practice every day. So we're used to like hearing the ball smack against the backboard. It wasn't anything new. I think the only thing that was really interesting was that Fox was in the middle of talking about a very serious subject.
Yeah.
He got to a point where he was talking about how poorly last year went and how players had gone separate directions when things got hard and all that stuff. And then the ball hits the backboard. He smiles. He goes, you know, you guys, bet you guys all know who did that.
Very bad timing.
It was bad timing. He didn't know it. We didn't really know it. But these are things that happen all the time. I'll tell you, I was in Toronto for the NBA Finals, and we were all getting ready for Steve Kerr to come over and sit down like courtside to do a scrum before one of the games. And so all of like a huge amount of media like started swarming around the front of where there was where Steve Kerr was just going to come and sit down. Well, I'm like, well, forget that. I went around that row of seats to the row right behind it so I could just lean around the side and get Steve Kerr. Like I could stand right behind him. While I was standing there, Steve Kerr starts like he's walking towards us, but he's still like past half court. And I had like got my phone ready. Well, I see Steve Kerr pick up a bat.
That is an official freeze. That is an official freeze at 3:12. The streak back on. That is an official James Ham freeze.
Who's got it?
12.
Who's got it?
The streak is back. Someone was close.
Someone said 3:10, didn't they?
Someone was really close. James, that was an official freeze.
That was an official freeze.
Marcus had 3:10. I think that's the one.
I think the winner because you can be close without going over. The closest without going over. It's like the Price is Right. Marcus, you won.
The closest without going over.
We had with the 3:12 call on the James Ham freeze. Congratulations, it's Jay Solo down to the minute.
I was in the middle of a good story too. Stupid freeze.
Performance. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And the streak is back.
That was exciting.
It was hanging on by a thread there for a while. Yeah. Okay, so to make my long story short, Steve Kerr's walking towards the media scrum, but he's way on the other side. I'm getting my phone ready to record, but I watch Steve Kerr pick up a basketball, and I'm like, I'm going to hit record just in case something weird happens. I hit record. Steve Kerr has a basketball, underhands it from probably 60, maybe 70 feet. Nothing but net right behind him. So all of the media scrum has their back to it, except for me, who had walked around the row behind it. And I literally am the only one who caught video of it, which of course went viral. Like I think it broke 1 million views. Like, but during the NBA Finals, and yeah,
I've never seen that. You should put it back out. That seems pretty cool. I never.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I'll have to go back and find it. It's from whenever that was. What was that? June
June
of
of 2019.
yeah, 2019. Yeah. So it was a fun video clip where he hoisted the shot underhanded and nothing but, and of course Steve Kerr is one of the great shooters of all time, and it doesn't surprise anybody that he could actually hit that. But yeah, it was fun.
That's a that is a footnote we kind of buried that social media didn't, is the timing of De'Aaron's. You guys can guess who that was very, very bad, because when I posted, I quote tweeted you like, wait, who was it? And everyone starts going in on Marvin Bagley and Buddy Hield. I'm like, wait, we're not talking about the same thing. The hell is going on right now? And yeah, just that prompted a lot of tweet threads of people talking about Marvin Bagley and Buddy Hield yesterday.
I didn't pick that up until like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought he was talking about the whoever threw the ball.
Yeah, social
I
media.
never thought about what he was saying before.
Yeah.
So I've had a head cold for the last couple of days, really minor, but I did something stupid and I was listening to something while I was driving home. Well, I drive home and I go from 100 feet of elevation in Sacramento to 1,800 feet of elevation where I live, and I was wearing my iPod Pros, and I couldn't get my ears to pop when I got home. Because I have a head cold. So I got home and I felt like my head was going to explode. And so I actually took a nap and then woke up to all this chaos on the internet and people texting like, hey, can we clarify this thing? Like, that wasn't the intent. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, sorry about that. But yeah.
No, it's just, I think if you pay, again, the timing of it is weird, but if you paid attention to it, you knew he was referring to the noise. Like you could visually see it. Like he was referring to the noise, but
that's what I always thought. I didn't even think about that till like I said, 2-3 minutes ago.
Oh, there are a bunch of people
I
like
didn't
throwing
think about
shade. Yeah.
yeah, when we played it, I didn't think anything about it. It wasn't until I put the tweet up like, oh, wait, Ham, who was it? And people started responding, Buddy, Marvin.
I know, like,
what are you doing there? What are you talking about?
people catching strays. Like, what is happening?
What is this going on?
That's funny.
I know you wrote about De'Aaron and Domantas Sabonis last night. Any takeaways from your couple minutes with De'Aaron yesterday?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is that, and I don't want this to be shade at previous coaches, but I felt like last season the roster was better than a 30-win roster. I think we all can agree that was a disappointing season. We didn't know how good the roster was, but it didn't feel like a 30-win roster. And then when we got to the regular season, Fox gets off to this slow start. Halliburton is taking over as like the primary point guard. We started learning very quickly that like while there wasn't like something going on between Halliburton and Fox as people, their chemistry was bad. And it was a lot because you took the ball out of De'Aaron Fox's hands and you put it in Halliburton's, and Fox is a guy who his entire life has had the ball in his hands. And I think that between conversations with Sabonis and Fox and Mike Brown over the last couple of days, we're kind of learning that as soon as Mike Brown got this job, he hired Luke Locks and then sent him straight to De'Aaron Fox and said, I need you to work with De'Aaron Fox on how to play off the ball. So maybe it was part of the pitch that Mike Brown gave to ownership and management when he was going through the interview process, or whatever it was. He spotted something that I think that we kind of missed overall, and that was the impact of Fox trying to figure out how to play off the ball, but it really didn't feel like they had prepped him or he had worked on that the entire offseason. Sure, he worked on his shooting, but I think he worked on a lot of off ball. I mean, a lot of like creating for himself, shooting and stuff like that. And so I think that there was miscommunication. I think it led to a very weird feel with the team last year. And I think that that's why the Kings addressed it right away this year. They went right to the issue, and Luke Locks has been working with him all summer long from June until now. He even went on his honeymoon with him and Rasay, and it's to get Fox to just get comfortable off the ball. And it's not easy for a player who's a ball dominant player. And now he's still going to be ball dominant, but he's going to need to figure out how to move to an open spot and hit a wide open 3-point shot. And he can do that. It's just, again, it didn't feel like he was ready for that last year. And it was almost like hey, they'll work it out on the court. And that's not the way it goes. If you're going to have a player do something different than what they're used to doing, you probably should have set them up for success in the offseason.
Well, the I don't know if ironic is the right word, but I'll use it anyway. The ironic thing about that is neither one of them knew what to do off the ball. Like Tyrese, he couldn't be the shooting guard that De'Aaron Fox needed, and De'Aaron Fox couldn't be the shooting guard that Tyrese Halliburton needed. So they both got set up for failure in that respect. This media day and early training camp, do you thinking back on it, do you see a difference in De'Aaron Fox? Like, does he seem to be in a better space? Is he less agitated? I don't remember anything really being bad during training camp and media day last year, but I know this year he seems like he's in a really good spot. Is there any difference to you from him this year to last year?
Oh, yeah, 100 times different. Yeah. Like, I think De'Aaron lost his smile last year. Like, I don't know what happened. I know he came in and, like, the roster hadn't been changed over like they had hoped it would. And, some guys that didn't want to be there were still there. There was this, like, tenuous thing hanging over Luke's head where everyone kind of knew that if things didn't go well, he wasn't going to be around very long. I think that there were a lot of things kind of playing into it. And I don't think he came in like maybe the best shape of his career, which I think like this year we're looking at him and he looks like the Fox that we saw like 2-3 years ago when he was a monster. And, I'll tell you this, I was recording and, like the way I record is I have my phone like pretty close to in front of my face, but you can see my eyes from like here up over the top of my phone. And I'm talking to people while I'm recording with my phone. With a mic on it, and he smiled like while we were talking. He found it funny, something funny, and so I actually screen captured that and I used it in my post when I wrote about him and Sabonis last night for the Kings Beat. I put it out there, and then this morning, his wife actually replied to it and said, "Sure, it's nice to see a smiling Fox" or something like that. I think it's good for everybody, right? Like, this is a young guy who has been under a lot of pressure because his team can't win, and he's still only 24 years old. And, he wants to succeed, and he wants to carry this team back to the playoffs, and it just hasn't worked out, and they haven't figured it out, and he hasn't figured it out. And you kind of get this feeling that he knows that this is, like, everything has been put in place for him to succeed this year, and if he doesn't, it's on him. And I think he knows that. And like, he's confident, he's comfortable, he's nothing but smiles, and it's good to see. It's good to see sort of the weight lifted off of him. And I'll add to this, I think Sabonis having two guys to carry the weight instead of just one is tremendous for him. And while the other guys, like, there's nothing wrong with Harrison Barnes or Tyrese Halliburton or Buddy Hield, the pressure was never on those guys to carry this franchise. It was always on Fox, and now it's on Fox and Sabonis. And Sabonis has some of the broadest shoulders you're going to find. He's going to help carry this thing, and that's big. That's big for Fox.
And to that point, real quick, Damian, you mentioned something in there, James, that always stuck out to me, and this was something that prompted a question that I asked, I think, last week. Like, I said something to the effect of, if they don't make the playoffs, can you see a scenario where Fox is still here? Because it's been, commonly people talk about, oh, well, they got to make the playoffs. If they don't, Fox is out. You move on from all that and other stuff. But James brought up a good point just now. And I thought about that when I asked the question, was he's still just 24 years old, man. He's 24. Like, he's good right now. And he doesn't, you can make the argument he's going to be so much better at 27. And we're looking at a guy who's 24, and like, if they don't make the playoffs or they don't get something done, then it's just never going to happen for this guy. You got to get him out of there. And it's just, that's what always gives me pause. I understand why people say that and have that type of outlook on the season. But when you sit down and look at, I know he's been in the league going on 6 years or whatever, but it's not you can't replace his actual age with years of experience in the NBA. He's still 24 years old. He's probably not even as strong as he'll ever be naturally right now at 24 years old. You said that, and it just always comes back to me, man. Like he is 24 years old.
It's interesting. He's just he's just a different kid than when he came in the league too. You know, like he was brash and he had the spiky hair and he was so wiry thin, but everything was, you know, like he was cocky. And I think he lost a little bit of that. And you do, you know, every guy does as they
Everyone will
get.
do that to you.
Yeah, well, losing does that to you, but like aging 5 6 years, it does. Like you grow out of some of that as you get a little bit older, and you know he's a good kid. He has good intentions. He wants to be great. He wants to do things right here. He wants to be in Sacramento. He's never budged from that, and so I think we're at a point where like hopefully everything is set up. You know, I had a conversation with him on media day, and you know, we talked about it, and you know, he said, "I'd, you know, really like to get to the playoffs," and I said, "I would really like to see you get to the playoffs," because I haven't seen it, and this is my 13th year covering the team. I haven't got to cover the playoffs. I've covered Warriors in the playoffs, but I haven't covered the Kings, and it's tough. I mean, it beats everyone down. The losing does, but you know, I think it's interesting watching a kid grow up. He's growing up in Sacramento. You know, my first year I started doing this job was DeMarcus Cousins' first year, and it's just crazy because now you know you as a reporter you're able to watch the lifespan of a player, you know their actual NBA lifespan, and to watch a player come into the league as a 19-year-old kid, and at this point he's out of the league, but he might be back in the league. We'll see. But to see a guy like sort of age out is really intriguing to see, and like I'd like to see Fox find this success for himself and for everybody. I mean, everybody wants the positive vibe here in Sacramento.
No.
We'll come back. We'll talk more with 1320 Kings insider James Ham. We'll talk more about De'Aaron Fox, the pairing with DeMontis Sabonis. We'll talk more about the Sacramento Kings as we roll along here on Sacramento's sports leader, ESPN 1320. Oh, we're clear. We're clear.
Yeah, he'll be 25 in December. I think him and Sean have the same birthday.
Oh, good footnote.
Yeah.
Learned me and DeMarcus have the same birthday.
Actually, I think me and Herter have the same birthday. I'm just much, much older than him.
What they talking about here? Cree Summers. The band got back together. We got Jaleesa. We got Whitney. We got, I forgot her name.
From a different world?
Yeah. We got what was Dwayne Wade's friend's name again?
Ron?
Ron is here. Let me find out they're doing a reunion.
Someone tweeted that The Rock in the original like Warzone video game looked like Ron from a different world. And I looked at it like, damn, it kind of does.
I liked A Different World.
Oh, that was funny. Different World was great.
Yeah.
It's escaped the cancellation. We haven't had to jump A Different World, even though it has an association.
No, I was about to say the creator of the show.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you.
Katie will bring it up on a broadcast this year.
Oh, yeah.
This is the best.
The pudding guy, right?
No.
Stop.
Do this.
Pull the cord. Pull the cord. Stop talking about the pudding cup guy.
That's one of my favorite games ever. It's just Kyle just not even acknowledging. What's his name again? Kyle just not even acknowledging. Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, we're just gonna move on.
Oh man.
Doggone it! I'm trying to find that picture, that video for you guys.
Game 6, 2021 NBA Finals.
Oh, that actually helps me. So it's the.
Oh no, that's not what
He's talking about something else.
watching.
Oh no,
He's got. You got the app on? You got the new app?
Yeah, NBA TV is on. Oh, that's right. The Clippers play too. It's about to be lit tonight. I got things to
Clippers play. Oh, someone already found it, James.
Oh, really?
You got it. Yep. Mr. Brooks found it. I'll retweet it.
All right.
By the way, I'm logged out of our Twitter.
ESPN's. Oh, the passcode has probably been changed 47 times.
You got locked out?
Yeah.
That is pretty. This is a pretty funny video because no one's watching it. Like there's this big horde of media people, all with their back turned, who have to turn and see what happens when the shot goes in. That's tremendous.
Yeah. Oh, I can hear Kareth. Who hit that? And I can hear Monty. 357,000 views. I was off by a little bit. It's only, I think, 3 seconds. All right, 4.
Hold on, you guys bear with me. The volume's going to be up. I want to see this.
That's ridiculous. Oh, and he hit the post, too. That's great. Huh?
Nah. I'll just do it on my phone. Just take it.
I just retweeted it. It's out there. Good find, Mr. Brooks, by the way.
Yeah. Them there Twitter stalkers out there.
2019. I'm not good at searching stuff. I try.
Yeah,
Jesse's really good at it.
Dr. David is great at it.
Dr. David is very, very good at it. All right, we're coming back, guys. Hang on. Jimmy Garoppolo on the lip reading clip. I'm sure I've said a lot worse things on the field than that. I'm not sure exactly what I was saying. It is what it is. Okay.
All right.
Jimmy G on possible friction between him and Kyle Shanahan. Me and Kyle are cool. We really are. Jimmy G on Kyle Shanahan taking the blame for his safety. I give credit to Kyle for being man enough to do that. Jimmy had a press today. He said nothing.
Why was that Kyle's fault that he stepped out of the back of the end zone?
Because the play call.
Yeah.
Okay, but even if he didn't step out of the back of the end zone, it was a pick six. So let's give Kyle his props.
We all know it wasn't Kyle's fault. Kyle was trying to be a nice, good coach in that situation, but Jimmy, you've got to stay in bounds.
He should just say, well, I'm all he's got, so it is what it is. Oh, yeah, no, he doesn't have another quarterback, so we're good. Yeah, he's going to have to put up with me.
Me and Kyle are cool. We really are. Oh, that sold me.
Yeah.
Me and Dave are cool. We really are. Yeah, okay. All right.
You remember Spencer Hawes and Paul Westphal chest bumping in pregame? Yeah.
Oh, Spencer.
Show everyone they're cool. Yeah.
Spencer Hawes is the most disliked former King of all time.
He's up there. Like, he gets it. Jason Terry gets it. Yeah.
It's Hawes. Hawes is number one.
Yeah, I'm not quite. Yeah, I mean, he's a Seattle guy. I guess that plays into it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jason Terry never even showed up, right? That was his whole thing. Like, I'm not doing that.
Oh no, he showed up and then he asked to be released, and they released him, and then he went on the air in Dallas the next day and trashed the organization.
Oh,
that's why fans don't like Jason Terry.
Oh no, I knew he trashed the organization. I didn't even think he ever showed up here.
Yeah, like I don't remember Sam Cassell showing up, and Marquise Daniels never showed up. Like Larry
No.
Hughes never showed up. So
Oh, this is what I wanted to do. We're going to get to King's Talk, but I thought this was funny. So one of the quotes they talked about from training camp was, I think it's Markeith Morris was in Brooklyn, and they were asking him about, the whole situation with the Nets. And he goes, he says, I mean, it's like any relationship. It's like a marriage, me and my wife, we've split up a bunch of times, but we're still married.
I saw that. I saw that. That was that's a tremendous line.
to each his own. Yeah,
Hey, that was part.
yeah.
That cracked me up when I heard that one.
We were talking about De'Aaron before the break and kind of finding his smile, so to speak, to start this training camp. How much of that is? Do you think everyone remembers the hug heard round the world after that first game with Domantas Sabonis? How much of that is Domas, and how much of, like in the caliber of player that Sabonis is, and how much of that is he just looks around like, oh, these are NBA players, like all of them, every one of them.
I think it starts with Domas and then it goes to the next one. Yeah, I mean, really, when you look around and there's so many players, so many options that you have, like not that Alex Len is a world beater, but the fact that Alex Len won't play at all and he's a guy who's been in the league for a long time and plays major minutes, there's a good chance he won't be in the rotation at all. A guy like Kent Bazemore that is going to have, a difficult time earning minutes, or even possibly, we don't even know what the final roster will look like. Like this team does have a lot more like seasoned veteran guys, or at least young seasoned veteran guys too. Like all these second contract guys. Second contract guys that's like sort of the best of all possible worlds. They've been through the first 4 years of their deals. They know who they are as players for the most part. You just plug and play them into positions, and they're still young enough to grow a little bit. They're still young enough that you don't have to have a bunch of bench players ready at because they're going to be healthy for the most part. And so I think this group has a possibility to like grow together pretty well, and really like start out right now where they are and have like a positive vibe, but 2 years from now be building something and really have some sort of culture that's changed.
James, do you think, and this may be a weird question to ask, maybe you're not really getting the feel. Do you feel the rest of the guys on that team look at De'Aaron Fox as the guy? And what I mean by that is not just the guy because he's been here for a long time, but also the guy because he's like that good. Like, do they look at him like that? Like, yo, no, Fox is the dude, and he's number one here or two or whatever the case, maybe 1A, because he's that good. Do they look at him like that?
Yeah, I think when you see him behind the scenes and you play with him, like in pickup games and stuff, you realize that, he's one of the better players that you're going to run into. It doesn't matter where some ranking system puts him, whether he's 47 or, or if he's 25. Like, I think he's a player who's right on the cusp of, between 25 and 35 of the best players in the NBA in the world. And that means that, he's probably the best player on a bunch of teams, or one of the best players. So, yeah, I mean, he's an exceptional talent. And everyone who walks in the gym is like, okay, I didn't know he was this good. That's what you hear from guys like Kevin Huerter. Like I knew Fox was good. They're him and Monk, and let's see, Monk, Huerter, Fox are all part of the same like AAU class that moved up together. And he had seen them at a couple of tournaments at one point and watched Malik Monk like hammer a ball down like right away in a game, and saw how fast Fox was and all that stuff. But to be behind the scenes and play with him every day and understand like what they can do when it's not in a game, yeah, you do look at guys in a different way. And I think everybody on that team understands just how good he is, like how good he is as an individual player, and how good Sabonis is as like a major center of the universe player. a player that makes everyone around him better.
James, you wrote last night about the Kings coaching staff having a plan in place for De'Aaron and Domantas Sabonis, and now obviously you've got to figure out how every other piece in a Kings uniform kind of fits with that being the focal point of the equation. But how do you implement someone like Keegan Murray into all of this? Because you've got you mentioned the veterans, you mentioned the second contract, squad surrounding this group with Malik Monk and everybody else. But Keegan's not that. Keegan is a first year player who you obviously think very highly of because of where you drafted him. Part of the reason many people think you drafted him is because he's ready now. That was one of the talking points headed into the draft. How does he factor into this plan with Sabonis and Fox?
Yeah, I mean, he's a perfect fit. I mean, Sabonis has said that. Like, he's a perfect fit player. Like, he knows how to cut. He knows the game. He knows to go stand in the corner and shoot the three when the other guys are working. He's really good from the elbow. He's been running a bunch of high post stuff, which is intriguing to me because that means that the Kings are thinking of him as a player that when Sabonis goes off the court might be able to step in and run the ball through for stretches, which makes sense because, I mean, at the college level, he's in like the 99 percentile in scoring in the post. I think he fits in really, really well because you don't need him to be great in year one. What you need is for him to be someone who's growing into a role and who holds his own in his first year. By year 3, you're hoping that he's your second or third best player and he's just like leaps and bounds better than he was as a rookie. But, you know who he is and what he's going to do. And I think that's one of the things that, like, when you're judging players and you're trying to find like personality fits and you're trying to, like, you get some players that if they're quiet like Keegan is, you have this concern that maybe they don't have like the dog in them, that force that makes them want to be great or whatever. But then when you see him play, it doesn't matter what court he steps on, he's the best player. And you're like, okay, like that's where you see that, like, he doesn't have to be vocal. He can be a little bit like Tim Duncan in that way, where he doesn't have to be this crazy personality. He's just going to walk in and be confident and really, really good no matter where you put him. And, does he have the ceiling of some of the other prospects around him? I don't know. We'll have to see. Like, that's still, it's always going to be a huge question about this particular draft. But you do know that the floor is so high. Like, there's no way he's just going to be a bust and he's going to be a bad player. He's already shown that. Right. Like, if you didn't think it, like, coming into Summer League, you'd like, all right, I'll just win the Summer League MVP. Like, oh, do you need me to hit a game-winning shot? Okay, I got it. He shot 8.5 threes a game, like, whatever it was. Like, he really, really just, he's a calm, collected dude. I don't know what his nickname's going to be, but to me, he's like the smooth operator. Like, everything he does just looks smooth and effortless, and you're like, okay, I get it. I get how he can be a really, really good rotational player in the league for the next 12 to 15 years.
I agree. I can't wait to see what he turns into in this league, because I already thought he was a good ball player. He's a lot better than I gave him credit for coming out of Iowa. Like, there's a lot more to him than I thought initially, man. He can play. I want to bring you into a conversation we were having yesterday with our guy, Matt George. Get your thoughts on it. We were trying to figure out the closing lineup. And I'll tell you where I came up. I said Sabonis, Fox, Keegan, and I was unsure. I guess it's situational. It's all situational. But I was unsure if Barnes would always be in there. Because a lot of people were like, well, Davion's got to finish the game because of defense. And I said, well, maybe if you have Barnes in there, maybe he's like the 4, you go small, and you quite possibly can go Keegan, Malik, Fox in the game. But they do have a lot of options. But what do you think ideally the closing lineup for this team would be?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is going to be situational, but like if we're guessing the starting 5 right, I think the starting 5 is going to close a bunch of games too. Like, that will be your opening lineup: Fox, Herter, Barnes, Murray, and Sabonis. But I think there are nights where like maybe you can get away with Davion down the stretch. Maybe you can get away with Rashawn Holmes playing some major minutes. Maybe a guy like Chima Moneke, just he brings energy and craziness, and just like he might not be in the final 2 minutes, but in the between the 5 minute mark and the 2 minute mark, he might be in the game where he's just bringing the energy and changing everything that's happening on the court. So I don't know that we're going to see a huge variant from the starting five being a closing lineup, but I certainly think that there's potential, especially, if Malik Monk is on a heater, like he could play closing minutes instead of Herter or instead of Barnes while Herter plays the three. We're going to have to wait and see how it all folds out and how quickly they gel together. Especially like the Keegan thing, like how many minutes can he take, and how much pressure can you put on him? How does he respond in like crazy game situation? I think he's going to respond really well, but until he's out on an NBA court and doing it, we don't really know.
And that's one of the great things I think Mike Brown alluded to in a conversation with Anthony Slater, is that the roster is versatile. There's a lot of different things that you can do with it. I like the idea of defined roles, though. Obviously, we don't want fluctuation in the starting lineup, but I don't always think that the starting lineup and the closing lineup are the same, because you have a flow in a game. I can remember times last year, and I don't think this ended well for the Kings. There were times where Harrison wasn't in closing lineups, and it was head scratching. I feel like they lost a lot of those games that he wasn't in there. But maybe that was Luke's attempt to like coach based on the way the game was going at the time. And I think that's always one of the most difficult things for a coach to do, is hopefully the Kings don't find themselves in this position a ton, but you will find it during a season where you're down, you're probably, or you're down big, and you've got to make that run. And you got a group out there that's cutting a 18-point lead to 15 to 13 to 12 to 8. Now it's the 3, and you've got 2 minutes left, and you got to decide what to do. Do you stay with the group that just shaved 18 points off of a lead, or do you swap it out? And I think that's just one of the, and that's obviously a dramatic example. The same thing could be said for a 6-point game or a tie game. How you keep these guys in how you keep that rotation going at the end, or not rotate them, and that's one of the toughest things a coach has to do.
Yeah, I think
coaching.
I totally agree. I would say this. I believe that most of the time we saw Harrison not finish games, it was later in the year with Alvin Gentry. Like there was a point where you're going to let some young guys play, and that's what that season kind of felt like. I know that there was still like an outside shot at one point, and the Kings could get back in it, and then they lost a couple of games, or they started having the injury bug hit. And once you lost Fox, once Sabonis had the knee tweak situation, all that stuff, I think the Kings pulled back and were like, wait, what are we doing? Like, we don't want to, we're probably going to come up short, and we're not going to hurt these guys trying to get there. But yeah, I mean, Mike Brown has been around for a long time, and he has a really good understanding and a feel for the flow of a game. He's also a guy who's always relied heavily on his starters and a very tight rotation. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a closing lineup that, again, there can be some variance here, but again, I think this team is going to really like having two switchable defensive forwards in Barnes and Murray. And while I'm not starting Murray on a bunch of small forwards, I think he can defend them in switching situations, and that versatility is big. And I think that's one of the things you started with here is versatility. It's that you have a bunch of multi-positional players. If we really circle who's not multi-positional on this team, it's, maybe Davion, who's more of a one than anything else. Although he can play off the ball, he's just an undersized 2. Malik Monk, but Herter can play the 2 or the 3, and Fox can play the 1 and the 2, and Barnes can play the 3 and the 4, and Sabonis can play the 4 and the 5, and Holmes can play the 4 and the 5, and Moneke can play the 3 and the 4, and KZ Okpala can play the 3 and the 4. So you start to get this understanding that guys who are limited, a guy like Trey Lyles, a guy like Chimezie Metu, who are really just more fours than anything else, that hurts you in this situation where, again, even like a Kent Bazemore can play the 2. He can play the 3. If you need him to defend a 1 for a little bit of time, you can do that. So I do think there's a lot of versatility on this roster.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, we were trying to figure out. No, there's no media available. Did they practice today, or did they get the day off?
I don't think they got the day off, but I think they had a maintenance day / probably a film study day where they're going through stuff. They did not have practice. They did not have media availability. They will tomorrow. They won't on Sunday. They're going to practice and then hop right on a plane for LA, where they'll play the Lakers on Monday, and then we'll kind of have to see what they're going to do on Tuesday and Wednesday. But yeah, this thing it's coming together quick. I mean, like the season is just around the corner.
Yeah, what do you think the approach is going to be Monday? Like these aren't NFL preseason games, so guys are going to play. But how do you think Mike approaches this?
Yeah, usually the first game or two, you run out there like your starters for a good portion of and early game stuff, and then you start dabbling with a couple of different lineups and different combinations of players to see how things work. I think we'll know pretty quickly what his starting 5 is going to be. And I think the big reveal will probably be whether it's Keegan Murray starting at the 4, or whether he goes something like Rashawn Holmes starting at the 4, or / Sabonis as a combo up front. I think we're going to have to wait and see, but the NBA structure, they're like game 2, game 3, usually let off pretty heavily and go with a bunch of different guys, like give a bunch of players a look. And then you come back in like game 4 and have more of a natural look in the first half, and then kind of go away from it in the second half. And as you're building up to get some game experience.
Yeah, I'm ready to see it.
It's got to be tough too. Like you want those guys out there, but it's also like it's the preseason. Let's be careful here. But you want to see it. Like you want to see what you're. Again, this isn't football. You want to see what you're doing in real live action here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that when another team goes deep to their bench, that means you need to go deep to your bench as well. Because the level of talent, like everyone is a certain level of talent. The level of coordination and then the whole try hard thing with guys trying to make it, that's where I think late preseason games usually get a little reckless, a little dangerous. And I mean, we see it in the NFL as well, like how many guys go down with an injury in the final like 3 minutes of a game in the NFL in preseason. And it's a ton, because these guys are trying everything that they have to make it on a roster. And that's not where you want your starters. You don't want them anywhere near a guy trying to block a breakaway dunk. And so, yeah, that's where you do pull back. So that's how I would judge it. Like, hey, if your starters look good in the first quarter, they came back and you played the first half sort of like how you would in your standard rotations, maybe even start the third quarter with your same group, and then kind of go a little loose about the 6-minute mark in the third quarter and try different things down the stretch. That makes a lot of sense.
Are 4 preseason games too much?
No, not in the NBA. Like, because the NBA is such a flow game, and it, where the NFL has all the contact issues, so you don't want your guys running out there for 4 preseason games. I don't think you want to run out there for more than like 2. But the NBA is like, it's so much about chemistry and flow that if you can't find that, and it's really hard. You can find that in practice. You get to a game and you go up against another team and they're throwing a bunch of weird looks at you, and you're this beautiful flow that you've had in practice and everything that went so well now looks horrible and you're back to square one. That's about chemistry and finding flow, especially, with this team. It's not just on the offensive end. The defensive end is where they really have to find that chemistry and flow.
Man, I can't believe it's back Monday.
I know.
An actual Kings game on Monday.
It's happening.
It's happening, people. Things are back.
Maybe I'll watch The Office tonight. It's happening. Oh my God. It's happening.
You are such a liar.
Go watch an episode. There's a lot of sports on tonight.
And don't say it with an attitude. You're absolutely not.
Oh, look, there's a lot of sports on tonight. And Jesse, I got to wake up early, 4:30. I don't think I will. It's coming on USA, so I'll just DVR it.
You're just telling all sorts of lies today.
I just said I probably won't wake up. I'm going to DVR it and watch it when I wake up.
I'm amused that you put the probably on it. You're not waking up at 4:30 to watch soccer. You're not there yet. I know you're trying.
I almost woke up at 3 o'clock to watch the Warriors.
Almost?
Yeah, and then I said, no, I'm not setting anything wrong. I'm not doing that.
Oh man, what is it tonight? Oh yeah, Clippers are on tonight. You stay up late. You go watch the women compete with China for the FIBA World Cup.
And Pac-12 after dark, Washington at UCLA.
Pac-12 after dark. Man, that is tonight. That is a nice little sports night right there. That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad. And then we'll be back here Monday. Oh man, it's going to be a busy Monday. We'll obviously react to the NFL weekend. But we'll be getting ready for Monday Night Football with the I feel like we barely talked 49ers today because we got a whole Monday to do it with the 49ers and the Rams on Monday Night Football. And then, of course, we've got Kings preseason basketball with the Kings and the Lakers.
Yeah, man. It's a big Monday. Not ESPN Big East. It's just a big Monday.
All right. We appreciate you all so much for being with us. Make sure you check out the kingsbeat.com. Check out the Kings Beat podcast. Check out the Kings Beat YouTube channel. Check out Kings Beat merchandise. Check out everything associated with the Kings